to Liberia, where the drums still play my song. Take me back to my homeland. It's the place where I belong.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.
Take me back to Liberia, where the drums still play my song. Take me back to my homeland. It's the place where I belong.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to LIB Future TV. I am Catherine Gibson here with Michael Padmore and Saliki Kroma. This is a new show. I hope you can join us every week, Monday through Thursday. We'll be here the same time. So like the page, join us. We're at LIB Future TV on Facebook and YouTube. And just take this journey with us. We are here to talk about the future of Liberia and the Liberia that we all want to see. We know we all love Liberia and we want to see a future, a bright future for Liberia. So I want my co-hosts to join me and just say hello to everyone.
All right. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Please do us a favor. Share the show, please. Share the show in your different chat rooms, in your groups. We are excited to be here with you. This is the maiden voyage, okay, of LIB Future TV. We are setting new standards. We are setting new heights, and we're going to do so in style. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Today, we're going to have not just a great show. We're going to have even what you might call the better of the best shows. All right. So please take this time, share the show. That's what we're going to be doing. Share the show with us. We're going to have on today Mr. Alexander Cummings, okay, political leader of the Alternative National Congress. That is who we got for our maiden show, just to tell you the standard we are setting and the heights we want to go. That's who we were able to book for our maiden show. So please, we're going to have a riveting conversation with him. We're going to ask him all those questions that have not been asked yet. We're going to get to know the man himself, Alexander Cummings. So stick with us, okay? Share the show to your friends in your different chat rooms, in your different groups. Let them come in. Let them enjoy the show with us, and we'll definitely have a good time. I want to introduce to you my co-host that is going to be running Mondays with me, Mr. Saliki Kroma. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Padmo. Good to be here on the show with Ms. Catherine. I'm doing well, and just as you put it, we're going to be here, fighting for the soul of our country, Liberia, being able to inform Liberians from all walks of life, regardless of the political affiliation, But today, we are kicking this off with a conversation with Mr. Cummings. And so most of you, Mr. Cummings is the political leader of the Alternative National Congress. So today, we're going to be having a conversation with him. So stay tuned. Please share with your friends. Ask your friends to come on. We are also live on Kia Radio in Liberia. So we will ask him the necessary questions, and maybe after a few hours, or maybe after the hour, we'll open the phone line for you two to ask your questions and get a feedback for himself. So we are here and looking forward to a great conversation today. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. So yeah, so basically this is how it's going to go, my people. We're gonna do some housekeeping. All right. We're gonna have a really short local conversation, and then from there we're gonna bring on our guest. We're going to ask him those questions. We're going to have him tell us more about himself and what are his plans for Liberia. Then we're going to open up the phone lines. We're going to let you guys be a part of the show. That's why we're here. We're not here because of us. We're here because of you. So we're going to make you a part of this show. So we're going to open up the phone lines, and we're going to entertain your questions. Whatever question you have to ask Mr. Cummings, you will have the opportunity to do so. Once that is done, then we'll go ahead and finish up with the things we need to finish up. But for now, please share the show, get on there, share this show, and so that we can get things started. Catherine, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very good. I was watching the ANC, and I think Jefferson, do you have the photograph here? I was watching the ANC, I see for Ramadan, they had gone around to different mosques. They donated a lot of rice, and they donated a lot of money to break the fast. I think they went to a mosque in Monrovia, in District 15, District 16, District 17. They all distributed 20 bags of rice and 200,000 Liberian dollars. And when is the end of Ramadan, Saliki?
It's going to be the 18th of March.
Oh, 18th of March, okay.
Between the 18th to the 19th.
Okay, so they're going around to different mosques in Monrovia, giving out rice, and that was good. I thought that was very good. And then I also saw Mr. Cummings this morning. Jefferson, you have that photograph?
Yes, I do. Let me put it up.
Yeah, I saw Mr. Cummings this morning. He was meeting with some big people.
Oh, wow.
He met with the ambassador to the U.S., and that is Chairman Gould and Attorney Yakula. They were meeting this morning. So Mr. Cummings has been very busy going around, having meetings, discussing the future of Liberia. So maybe we can ask him some of the things that he discussed in his meeting. So yeah, this is a good day to start the show. You all please follow the Facebook page and share the show, and come here every day, Monday through Thursday. We'll be here, and we can't wait to hear your calls. We want you to tell us about the Liberia you want to see.
So Catherine, can I ask you, so what's going to be happening Monday through Thursday?
So usually we will have a reporter to come to give us the latest news in Liberia. I think today there was a story about the LACC clearing the former minister to the fisheries.
Emma Glasgow.
Emma Glasgow, yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she was cleared today by LACC.
Mm-hmm. So
I know. Yeah. So that means, think about it now. So she was suspended for over 2 years. That means she will be owed some back pay. That's how the law goes.
I think she was one of those positions that you just can't come in and just fire people, right?
Yep, she was a tenure position. She held a tenure position from fisheries.
Mm-hmm.
And she was accused of embezzlement and corruption.
Mm-hmm. And then they tried to get rid of her.
And she was suspended by the president, President Boyka.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the law goes is that if you are accused of corruption or any sort of crime and you are suspended without pay.
Mm.
And if you are cleared, you get your back pay as if you were working.
So Liberians have been paying, so they're going to pay two different people for the same job.
Yes, the person that replaced her, they have to pay that person, and then they have to pay her not only. And here's the thing about hers, because if she was appointed and she had been suspended, right? They will only pay her up to today. But the fact that she has a tenured position,
Mm-hmm.
they have to pay her to the end of her tenure.
Oh, wow.
Yes. They have to pay. That's the only way they can release her. They have to pay her up to the end of her tenure.
You see where our money, see where the Liberian money is going.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. You got money. You don't have medicine in the hospitals. Children sitting on the floor in classrooms, and you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars only because you want to bring your own people in to serve positions. You know, it's extremely disturbing. I can't wait to ask Mr. Cummings about this, you know, and see what is his take on this. You know, the whole tenure position. You know, new government come in, they'll wipe everybody out at the expense of the Liberian taxpayer, because this is what is happening.
Right.
You know,
well,
so
the
I can't
problem,
wait.
One of the problems with it is that if you have a tenure position, then you want to bring in programs, you want to continue those programs, you want to build off of those programs. And as soon as you switch to someone new and everything stopped, then you have to find a whole new set of programs. And it's just not, that's why they have it as a tenure position. So, you know, maybe they should just give her position back, because she had programs that
would be
she
the
brought
cheapest
in.
thing to do.
Yeah, she had programs that she brought in, and she had things that she was already starting, and then they had to stop. Now they clear her. It's just not a good use of the money in the country.
And she was one of the most successful.
That's what I heard.
People, yeah, she really built up that fisheries.
That's what I heard. She had brought in a lot of new programs, and yeah, that was a shame. So that happened, and then LEC unveils power reform plan. The LEC managing director announced a $1.6 billion power reform plan seeking investors, despite Monrovia facing power outages due to low voltage. So yeah, this is a problem, especially, you know, when I come to Liberia, I have to work and I have to join online, different courts.
Yeah.
I cannot have the power going in and out, and then people complaining, saying, you know, we got to go get gas for the generator. I mean, it's not good for working, or just for, if you say you want factories in the country, you can't have factories and the power is going in and out. So
no, you can't.
That has to change. And so they're saying they're looking for investors.
I don't even understand that part. I don't understand how LEC can look for investors. You know, LEC does not. They don't have the legislative affirmation to look for investors. You know, LEC is supported by the government of Liberia and its customers.
Right.
They don't
you
have
to break
shares.
It up.
They don't have shares to sell to investors. They don't have any one of those things. I don't understand what it means to say they're looking for investors. You know what I mean, though? That would have to be a legislative act to open LEC into a public company. You know,
right?
It's not. It is it's what you call a state-owned enterprise. SOE. It's owned by the state. It's just ran as a business, but it's owned by wholly and solely by the state. So I don't know where they're coming from on that other talk. You know, we'll see how well it goes. But I remember during the rainy season, everybody was praising this particular director. Yes, managing director. He was the new Jesus walking on water. You know, dry season come. You know, everybody experiencing power shedding, load shedding. You know, everybody experiencing that right now. LEC does not stay 24 hours in one place. It has to go. Even if it will go for 3-4 hours, it will go.
Right.
You know, and when you know, now he's hiding. Before you were on every radio station, you know, giving interview. Now since LEC going, now he hiding, now he can't come out.
No.
You know, I don't know what kind of leadership that is, but you know, that's what we are.
If you want a future Liberians that have companies, you say you want companies to come to the country, you have to have electricity for them to make a profit, or else they will go somewhere else. That's the bottom line. So if you want factories, if you want jobs in the country, you have to figure this LEC problem out, because most of the world has constant electricity where they can rely on in order to work, in order to move their machinery, in order to power their equipment. And so, that's why we are here, Liberia Future TV. We want to talk about the future of Liberia. And so most of the electricity, how it works is you have a public-private connection. So where you have shareholders, people who invest in the companies in order to get a profit. And that's why you have constant electricity, because the shareholders will say, we want a profit. You have to keep the electricity going. But if you just have it as a public company, they can lose money. They don't really care. No shareholders are going to hold them responsible. So you do need a public-private connection in order to have constant electricity. And that's something that, we should ask Mr. Cummings what his ideas are. But I know he talked about having alternate electricity sources as well, like, solar power, and having alternate ways in order to generate electricity. So that was another thing that came up in the news. And then the last thing was the ombudsman to report code of conduct violations. The Office of the Ombudsman will submit a report to the Liberian Senate detailing alleged violations of the National Code of Conduct by government officials, holding party positions, citing corruption and unethical behavior concerns. What's new? Michael, you're muted. What's new? Michael, you're muted.
They have done absolutely nothing. It's as if the office of the ombudsman does not even exist. They have taxpayers' money, they're getting paid, they have an office space, they're driving government vehicles. It's just nothing they're doing. They ignore all of the violations. They're so afraid to talk. Like cat got their tongue, like as my mom used to say when I was much younger. All right. But hey, you know what? It's 1:20 on my side. That means that it's 7:20 in Liberia. We've been on for 20 minutes. Jefferson, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Mr. Cummings has joined us.
Yes.
All right. Can you bring our guest on, please? And then can you please move him to the top, please, there? Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Cummings. Good evening, Alexander B. Cummings. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Good afternoon to you in the U.S. and good evening to Siliki in Kigali. And Jefferson, good evening to you as well.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, man, I bring a certain yo, you see?
Welcome, Mr. Cummings. Thank you for joining our first show.
Oh, wow. I'm honored. I'm indeed honored to be your first guest. And hopefully my presence brings you success.
Yes, already has. So thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good to see all of you. So, Michael, am I calling you Ansu or Michael?
Call me Ansu, please. Call me Ansu. Yes,
and
yes.
Siliki, what's happening in Kigali?
Oh, Kigali is wonderful, Mr. Cummings. All good here.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Good to be
and Catherine, good to see you as well.
You too, Mr. Cummings. Thanks again for joining. I know you were with very important people, so we're honored that you could come after you had your visit this morning at the embassy, talking about very important things. We're going to ask.
No, it was a very good conversation with the chargé. Talked about Liberia, some of the opportunities and challenges. So it was a very good, wide-ranging discussion, and it went very well. Yeah, it was good to have that conversation.
Well, good. Well, Saliki and Michael have Ansu have a lot of questions for you, and I have some questions too. But who's going to start with Mr. Cummings?
Well, I'll go ahead and get the
Okay.
ball rolling. I will go ahead and get the ball rolling here, and then I'll bring CDK in, and then Catherine. I know you have a question or two, so I'll let you do that, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Cummings, I've heard that you grew up in Point Four. The war took me to Point Four. I can't tell us a little bit about growing up in Point Four. What was like? You went to demonstration school, right?
Yeah.
Yes. What was it like, man? What was it like growing up in Point Four?
Yeah, look, Point Four has always been, and as you know, still is a challenging neighborhood. But at the time, we didn't think about it that way. We were growing up there, playing football, had a lot of friends. So I would say it was a very typical Liberian upbringing. I always say, Michael, that I've been blessed. My parents, when I think about my upbringing, I think what's relevant is one, that it was very typical Liberian upbringing, all the things that young people did at the time, but also the values I got from those environments, both Point Four and when we moved to Fiamma in Sincor. The value of good friendship, being loyal and close to your friends. I was fortunate to have good parents who taught me the value of hard work. My mother used to always say, hard work don't kill anybody. The value of, they need to hustle, to work hard, to get ahead. Sometimes you gotta be smart. So demonstration school, in government school, but it was a good school, by the way. I did well in elementary, then went to CAB High School. So very typical, classic, I think, Liberian upbringing.
Okay. And then you went to Cottington, and then you were able to leave. Tell us a little bit about that. What's the transition to that? How did you get from Cottington to leave, and then just leaving? Leaving. I mean, I know when I left Liberia, what were my hopes and dreams, and what I was hoping to do. Talk to us a little bit about a young man leaving Liberia. I'm guessing for the first time. What was that for you?
Yeah. So first of all, I went to Illinois, and I would talk about the most serious part of it. But the first shock was the winter, right? Coming from Liberia into the Chicago area, the Illinois winter. I remember I didn't have gloves; my fingers were freezing and that sort of stuff. But I had an opportunity to get a scholarship, a partial scholarship, to go to undergraduate school. I started at Cottington, and then I finished in Illinois. After undergraduate school, I actually came back, Michael. So my aspiration was always to come back home. Okay. And I came back, I was working at LBDI. I wanted to get some work experience before going back to graduate school. So the plan was always to get an MBA. Went to get the MBA. Again, the plan was always to come back home to Liberia. But then as I was trying to get some experience, before coming back, the war broke out, and it was just not conducive to come back at the time. So I ended up staying in the US for an extended period of time. But I always, when I came back, Liberia was always home. It's always where they say neighbor's string is buried. Mm-hmm. So I've always had this passion for our country, for our people. And I came back, worked for LBDI, as I said, and went to graduate school. And then started my professional career, and I ended up being somewhat kind of stuck in the US for an extended period. But it was a blessing because I got a lot of good experiences, Michael. I saw how good processes work, how good systems work. I saw other Liberians thrive in that environment. And it just said to me, we can thrive anywhere. It wasn't just me. I mean, it's people like yourself and others, right? Saliki is in Rwanda. He's doing well. I mean, in a more structured environment. So why can't we do that here, right? So it was all of those kind of learnings and blessings, if you will, from those experiences.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'll ask you one more, and then I'll pass it on to Siddiqui here. We've all getting to know you. We've all known that, you know, Mr. Comey, he's never the loudest person in the room. Okay. And there's been a lot of adjustments. So I'm guessing that the decision to enter politics and run for the highest office in the land was not an easy one. How did you come to that, knowing that all of the things that were going to come at you?
Yeah, so it wasn't, you know, what they call an aha moment. It wasn't just at a point in time I said I'm going to get up and go be president. So when I thought about where I was in life, this was like 12, 15 years ago, because I entered politics 2016, 2015, 2016, so 10 years. But a few years prior to that, as I started to think about my life's journey, my life's accomplishment, the experiences I had, I said to myself, boy, Alex, you've been incredibly blessed in life. And Michael, Catherine, Jefferson, Siliki, I give most of my success to being blessed. And I think that's true for most of us successful people, but not all of us acknowledge that or realize that, right? And I said, I don't think God blessed me with all the experiences, right? First of all, my parents, the values they taught me, the environment, the friends I had. I mean, I still have lifelong friends that I've known my whole life. The experiences living in the US, living in Nigeria, living in Kenya, living in South Africa, living in the UK. God wanted me to do something with this experience to help the country of my birth, to go back and help Liberia. And I felt then and now this intense obligation to help the country. And then I thought about, you know, what role? So I can do philanthropy, and I've done a lot of that, and you can affect the lives of thousands of people, and we've done that. But if you want to impact all 5 million people in our country, what role would allow you to do that? And I concluded the presidency was the job that would give me the opportunity to serve our country, to serve our people, and impact every citizen. So Michael and Catherine Siliki, I don't think about that job. The job is not my ambition. The ambition is to help change Liberia. And the job is a means to an end. The job allows you, it gives you the authority, the responsibility, control of the resources to effect change in Liberia, effect change in our country. And so when people say, oh, Mr. Cummings, ambitious, the ambition is not for the job. Part of my blessing is that everything in the presidency, right, the trappings, I call it, you know, whether it's the cars or flying on private planes, whatever it is, I've done those things, or I can afford to do it. So that's not, but using the job to change the lives of our people and bring all of these experiences I've been blessed to have had. The last budget I managed was over $1 billion that directly managed thousands of people around the world, complex systems, right? You got to identify good people, whether you're in business or you're in government, the right team, right? You got to set goals. You got to hold people accountable. You got to reward people. You got to motivate people. You got to deliver results for your voters. You got to deliver results for your consumers if you're in business. There are a lot of parallels. So having all of these experiences, having been incredibly blessed, I felt I need to find a way to help this country that we all love so much. And the job that allows you to do that is the presidency. And so it was a series of conversations, thinking, reflection, prayers that drew me to that point. Now, your point is I'm an introvert, right? That's the wrong personality to have in politics, right? And so I've had to force myself to do things differently. It's still a bit of a struggle. You know, I always compare myself to my wife, Teresa. Teresa is the extrovert, and that's the yin and the yang. Maybe that's why we've been married for over 40 years, right? So Teresa, she remembers names and faces, and she's very social and that sort of stuff. It's very natural for her. For me, it's work. And you have to do some of that in the corporate world, by the way, but not to the degree you have to do that in politics. And so people, because I'm reserved, I'm a bit shy. They say, oh, the man is stuck up, he's not friendly, he's an elitist. But of course, when people get to know me, they know none of these things are true, right? So, but I got work to do in that area. I still gotta, I gotta accept the fact that I still gotta work to be a bit more open and force myself to be more of a politician than my natural self.
Okay, I'll pass it on to Siliki. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And again, Mr. Cummings, welcome to our first edition of the LIB TV. Just quick from a youth perspective, Mr. Cummings, how did a man from Benfu, rise up to such a top leadership in corporate America? First of all, let's start off from this. For most successful people just see you being successful, but they don't know the challenge that comes with being successful, being a successful person. So what is one thing that you can share today with young Liberians like Siliki and hundreds of people that will come later to watch this interview that hit you hard at some point you feel like giving up, but you had to keep the focus to get the kind of success you get today for yourself? What is that one thing you can share?
So I think, Siliki, I will share more than one thing in terms of when I think about my journey and where I've ended up, the success I've had. As I mentioned first, I've been blessed, very blessed in life. Providence, contributed a lot to where I found myself. But hard work and discipline. I'm a very disciplined person. As I said, from a very young age, my mother used to say to us, there were 4 of us, Howard, don't kill anybody. And she used to make us work and study and do work around the house, etc., etc. So hard work. Persistence, not giving up. You will get disappointments in life. Things are not always going to go your way. But if you are determined, and I'm a very determined person, you focus, you have a goal, you got to stick with it. You get knocked down, you will go sideways, but I encourage young people to not give up, to stick with it. This idea of people always having a plan B, right? I like, if you're going into something, starting a business or you're starting a new job, and before you even start the work, you start already planning, if I fail, I will go to X, Y, D, you're going to fail, right? You got to get into situations. You may not succeed, but you have to be determined. You got to focus on succeeding. And if it doesn't happen, you deal with it at that point in time. But you don't plan for failure. And I find a lot of young people do that. I was also blessed. I don't know how I came about this, Siliki, but I'm very comfortable with myself, meaning I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And so I'm not insecure. If you're smarter than me in some way, I want you to come for us to work together. I'm not intimidated by people who are smarter than I am, right? I learned early on that you have to build teams, that no one person knows it all, no one person can do it all. And so very early in my career, I learned that if as the leader, when I started to manage people, if I don't get good people, support them, encourage them, challenge them, hold them accountable, I will not be successful. And when you're not successful, they won't blame the team member, they will blame you as a leader. Just that when you're successful, you will get the credit. So why not get good people around you, be go with yourself, let them take the credit, that's okay. In the end, people will remember the leader and not necessarily the team members, right? So hard work, persistence, determination, being knocked down and getting up again, being focused, were all attributes I think that contributed to where I found myself. Treating people with respect, with dignity, right? Even when we had to get rid of people sometimes, we had to fire people because they weren't performing, but it's the way you do it. People can leave a job and save face, and they can move on with their lives, etc., right? So respecting everybody, all of those values contributed to the blessings from the God Almighty.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. My second question, personally for you, Mr. Cummings, what is your position about we Liberians trying to dash?
I don't know if it's my internet or yours, Siliki.
Oh,
I can hear you now.
okay. Am I good now?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're good. You're good.
Okay, good. Thank you. So, what is your position on this stuff of trying to kill people aspiration? You let's leave Mr. Kumi's politician, right? But I see most Liberians living maybe in other part of the, maybe the diaspora coming back to Liberia, expressing aspiration, especially when you have friends with Jefferson, for example, and Jefferson is aspiring to be representative of District 5, and Siliki too want to be representative of District 5. So it is often said that you can't compete with Jefferson because you guys are friends. So what is your position on that? That because of your friendship with people, so you can aspire for more, and basically competing.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, not all of our people, but many of our people, what I call the punish ambition, right? When we should be encouraging people to be ambitious, we should be encouraging competition and fair play, right? And I'm one person who not afraid to compete, encourage people to be ambitious for themselves, for their families, for the country. But if you're going to be ambitious, particularly for public office, Saliki, it's got to be because you want to help to serve your people. It can't be because you're ambitious for public office because you want to make money off the backs of the country, of your people. Going into government is public service. You're going to be a servant leader. Your ambition should be to change and improve the lives of the communities or the district or the county or whoever you serve. That should be the ambition if you're going to go into public service. If you go into business, you go into business to make money. So the ambition then is to make money. So two different things, right? So, but we should not discourage people to be ambitious. We should try to understand the intent. So if Jefferson wants to compete, is ambitious just because he want to get in the legislature to make the same money the Americans pay the senators or representatives, then we should punish that kind of ambition because that's not the role of a legislature. It's to serve the people. You are a servant leader. It's to enable the environment for them to be successful. And yes, you get paid in the process, but you are not the ultimate beneficiary of that, right? Whereas if you go into business, so it depends on what the ambition is about, but we should never discourage people's ambition to want to succeed and or to want to help their fellow Liberians or their fellow men.
Thank you. I give about to Mr.
Okay, Catherine, you want to ask a question?
Yes, Mr. Cummings, I tend to like the fact that you're an introvert, in that I know that if you were to become president, you would actually be in the office working. You wouldn't be making music. You wouldn't be, going to cut ribbons at this place and that place, but you will actually be working to change the system. And that's what I think Liberia needs, someone who's a hard worker, who's going to be working in the office and who's going to get the country moving in the right direction. I have students in Artington Public School. I know students all through Liberia. They work hard. A lot of graduates from LU, they've taken tests, they've studied by candlelight, they've passed, they've graduated, and there's nothing there. There's no jobs for them. And that is a shame. It's a shame because they've worked so hard, they've earned their degrees, they're ready to go, and there's nothing there, And so my question to you is, what are you going to do to bring jobs to the country so people can have dignity, they can earn a living, they can get a home for themselves, get their own car, not have to ask people, ask family, ask representatives? I heard a representative complaining about this, that people keep asking and asking. They don't have a choice. If they
Yeah.
did, they wouldn't ask. So
Correct.
my question is, what kind of jobs can people look forward to in a Cummings government?
Correct. So first thing, Catherine, I would say that working hard and playing hard are not mutually exclusive. You can do both, right? So I appreciate your comment about wanting, a president who's going to work hard, and I will work hard. I've worked hard all my life. But there's a role for the ribbon cutting, for the symbolism, right? And I've always had this mantra, although I haven't lived it fully, but you work hard, play hard, right? Too many people play hard and work little. So you're gonna play hard, you should work hard, you should do both, right? So they're not mutually exclusive. But in terms of creating jobs, there are a host of things we need to do and can do to create jobs for our people. First of all, we have to recognize that the government is not the ultimate job creator. Our people need to understand that, and people in government need to understand that the government is to create an environment for the private sector to create jobs. And I'll talk about how we can do that. So, but that understanding is very important, because when you think about it, if the government is fully staffed, maybe they will hire 70,000 people, and that's too many, by the way. That's too big a government. But somewhere in that range, 60,000 to 70,000 people. The reality is we need to find about 2 million jobs. So government will never be able to employ all the people that need jobs. So people going to government got to understand that that's not your role. That your role is to create an environment for the private sector to create jobs. So how do you create this environment for the private sector to create jobs, Catherine? In no particular order, you got to make sure your judiciary is working, the courts, so that people buying land, buying property, if they have business disputes that is being adjudicated in a fair way, nobody calling the judge. You know them and say, Catherine, I'm a cousin there, even though she not, cheat her partner, but judge in her favor. So you gotta fix your judiciary. We need to find about 2 million jobs. So government will never be able to employ all the people that need jobs. So people going to government got to understand that that's not your role. That your role is to create an environment for the private sector to create jobs. So how do you create this environment for the private sector to create jobs, Catherine? In no particular order, you got to make sure your judiciary is working, the courts, so that people buying land, buying property, if they have business disputes that is being adjudicated in a fair way, nobody calling the judge. You know them and say, Catherine, I'm a cousin there, even though she not, cheat her partner, but judge in her favor. So you gotta fix your judiciary. You gotta make business registration easy. The last time I checked, for over a year, the business registry, the website was down. You cannot encourage business if those basic things don't work. We gotta make sure for now, we put everything we consume. We gotta make sure getting things into and out of the country through the ports, we gotta make it easy. We gotta get rid of the corruption in the country. You want to start a business, you want to get something approved, everybody, the hands all, they're stopping you, you can't get stuff done. So you got to fix the corruption. You got to make the ease of doing business. We got to review all our regulatory environment, our taxation, and make it easy for the private sector. Then we got to invest in Liberian businesses. We got to provide credit, all the way from microcredit, from market women, Ghana boys, etc., all the way to middle-sized and big-sized Liberian business, provide funding, credit, financing for them, loans for them to invest and grow their businesses. We need to invest in agriculture. Agriculture is a great job creator. The budget this year that it passed, the allocation of agriculture actually went down. 2025, it was 15 billion, which was too low. This year it was 13. The average should be something like investment like 10-20% of your budget should be into agriculture, right? And yet it is agriculture is the first A in the arrest agenda. But the investments, but agriculture is a great job, and not just farming. We should be investing in processing, right? Tourism is another job creator. We should be investing because, again, we have a lot of low-skilled people. Tourism, teaching people to offer service. You can create a lot of jobs quickly and low-skilled jobs, which is what the country needs, right? Housing is another investment area. Develop a mortgage bank where people can build housing. You encourage the housing industry, you're going to create jobs, right? So these are all examples of the things we need to do to create jobs in our country. Fix the environment, business environment, judicial environment, reduce the stealing, make it easier to import and export, provide loans, financing, and then invest in these sectors that are actually job-creating sectors. And that's how you begin to grow the economy and create jobs for our people.
Very good. Very
Awesome.
good. Yeah.
So since we're talking about
The other thing I would add
economy,
to, Catherine,
Go
too,
ahead.
is the use of technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
We should, the entire processes of government should be online. We should get rid of paperwork. Look, I was traveling to Dubai recently.
We're glad you're not there now.
Yeah, exactly. No, well said. Because I was telling 2 weeks ago, I'm glad I'm not stuck there. But the point is, I applied for my visa online,
Mm-hmm.
and I got it in less than 24 hours on my phone. I got my visa.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing, right?
Right.
So if we want to encourage businesses to come to Liberia, we should make it easier to get visas. You do it online. It should not be all this paperwork or you got to fly to Washington or whatever else. You just got to apply online, pay the fee online. You get it. Just a simple example, right?
Right.
But the use of technology can really help us leapfrog.
Right.
Right? Can move our country and move the economy forward. And actually, it will help with the stealing too.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. And we were just talking about electricity, internet, all of these things go together.
Yep. All of that go together. I heard you guys talking about that. Look, with electricity, studying your lesson, whether any profession, you're a tailor, you're a bar, you need electricity. It's so fundamental. You're not going to be able to manufacture anything in Liberia that is competitive at the cost of electricity, right? So you gotta have electricity at an affordable cost, right? Because if you gotta do your own generator, your own water, etc., manufacturing will not make sense in the context of our country. So those things are fundamental infrastructure, right? And that's another opportunity to invest, and that would also create jobs. When you think about running water, right? Many of the diseases that kill our people are waterborne diseases.
Yes.
Diarrhea, typhoid, right? Even mosquitoes, right? You got water, settling and sanitation, all that kind of stuff, generate mosquitoes, get malaria. You know what kills most Liberians, 80% Liberians? These are facts, by the way. In no particular order: malaria, typhoid, diarrhea, hypertension, childbirth. There's another one, there's 6 things. 80% of the deaths in this country are caused by one of those things, right? So if we invest in just what they call primary health care, you begin to affect the health of most of the Liberian people. Yes, we got to invest in JFK or Jackson to the referral hospitals, but you need the clinics around the country fully staffed with nurses and midwives, with the necessary drugs to treat all of these diseases, right? And 80% of what kills Liberians you will solve by just focusing on primary health care. Primary health care. If you're not paying your healthcare worker a living wage, Catherine, Siliki, also, they're going to sell the drugs even though it should be free because they got to support their family. It's human nature, by the way. If you're not paying the policeman a living wage, he's going to pull you aside. If you're not paying the teacher a living wage, they will take money for grades, right? Those are some fundamental things when we come to talk about corruption that you got to do to get rid of corruption, right? I mean, you can't be paying one group of people in the legislature the same as the Americans pay their legislator, the biggest country in the world, right? And you're paying your teachers, your healthcare workers, your police, your military I mean, that is almost inhuman. I mean, it's almost.
Yeah.
I don't know how politicians sleep at night, right? When you have that disparity that you can't control. It's not under your control to 50 million plus United States dollars for 103 people, 30 senators, 78 representatives. You know, the NSA budget going up by over 50%.
Right.
What's the national security threat? Why is that money not going to agriculture or into a national youth service, right? Or to providing loans, subsidized loans for Liberian businesses, market women, et cetera, Why is the procurement for most of our goods and services, because the government is the biggest procurer, vehicles and all these other things, they buy furniture, etc. Liberians should be doing that. Because importing.
Why do they have so many foreign stores? I don't understand. When I come to Liberia, all the stores are foreigners running the stores.
Yeah, because we're not encouraging our people, we're not creating an environment, they don't have the financing or the loans to do it, because it's all about credit, where you need financing, right? So if you're going to buy furniture for the government, we should advance the money because you got to pay it anyway. So we have put it to you 80% of it or whatever you buy, so you bring it out, we'll pay you the rest, right? We need to enable our people, we need to encourage, support them, and be unapologetic about that. There's some rules on the books that we don't enforce about certain categories that only Liberians should be participating in, for example, right? We need to enforce those rules, right? So Liberians will benefit from their own country. So yeah, it's just, so there's so much we can do, right, to begin to change the environment right away. The way we should think about it is that our philosophy, my philosophy, going into leadership in our country, going to serve our people, is that our policies need to affect the lives of the ordinary Liberian, of the common Liberian, right? That's the measure of success. Because if you look at the life of a teacher, a civil servant, again, a healthcare worker, a policeman, their lives have not changed over the last 8-10 years. They still struggle to feed themselves 3 meals a day, pay their rent, children's school fee. That's what our economic policy should be geared towards. How do we help that ordinary, that common Liberian see an improvement in their lifestyle, some relief, right? And these are facts, right? I think it's called the Global Human Development Index or something. 2 out of 5 Liberians go to bed hungry, right? I mean, in 2026, right, we are, I think, 123rd country, poorest country in the world out of 190 or something. So we're among the poorest countries in the world. We're the oldest country in Africa. I often say we got all of these natural resources, but yet we're so poor, right? We're rich in natural resources, but somehow our people are poor. So we got to just be more demanding of ourselves. And I remind Liberians that everybody in government gets paid. So they're not doing us a favor. The president gets paid, the vice president, the minister, as deputy assistant, all the agency heads, all the state-owned enterprises, people, the legislators. So when we're holding them accountable, when we're demanding that they do better, they're not doing us a favor. We have a right to that because they're not doing it for free. It's their job, right? And we just got to push each other, right? And so I make no apologies about any criticism I have or any demands. We got to raise our expectations. We got to push each other, right? We're in this race to the bottom. Everybody pulling each other down. I have no interest in that. I'm happy if Joe is successful, President Boycott. If it makes it more difficult for us to defeat him, that's good for the country. We should be pushing each other, challenging each other to be better, to do better, be more competitive. Because in that process, the country is getting better. And that's what we all want, as opposed to, being happy when somebody fails. I have no interest in seeing anybody as an individual or any government not be successful. That is not my interest. If it makes it harder for me to get a job, that's good. Let me work harder, let me be smarter. And we all need to have that attitude because that's how the country will move forward. That's how we'll push each other, right? To do better, to move Liberia forward, as opposed to wishing that, oh, this person don't do well, they fail, etc. I have no interest in that. That will not move this country forward. And Sadiki's question about my success is I take joy in other people's success. I'm happy for other people when it's successful. I push them, I encourage them, and I hope they do the same for me, right? And a certain karma follows you when you have the right attitude, when you think about people and situations in a positive way. Well, when you see the glass as half full as opposed to half empty, you think differently about opportunities and challenges than people who are, oh, woe is me, people who play the victim, right? There's a whole different dynamic that follows you in your life.
Okay. Mr. Cummings, I'm going to ask you a question and feel free to answer yes or no. Okay. Is Alexander Cummings prepared and equipped?
Hello?
Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay there?
His internet is stuck.
I think his internet is.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Okay,
You're breaking up. You are breaking up, Michael.
Okay, I said feel free to answer this question.
I think
with
you
a
do
yes
that.
and no. Can you hear me okay now? Okay, great. We can hear you fine. And like I said, feel free to answer this question with a yes and no.
I can
Yes
hear
or
you.
no, if you want.
Mr. Cummings cannot hear you.
You cannot hear me?
No, his internet is going back and forth.
Okay.
Back and
I can
forth.
hear you, Catherine.
Oh,
really?
Because I talk too loud.
Well, Catherine, why don't you ask your
Michael, I can't hear you.
I will come
I can
in
hear
now.
Catherine when she speaks.
Okay.
Saliki,
All right.
speak. Let me see if I can hear you.
Yeah, you got him in, Mr. Cummings?
I can't hear Saliki either.
All right. What's the question,
hear you.
Michael?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Catherine.
What's the question, Michael?
Just ask a question from you, and I will go back out and come back in. Okay.
So, Mr. Cummings, you already answered my question about healthcare because I was going to ask that question. You already answered that one, but this is a question that I have. I know all the Liberian people want to know. What are your favorite dishes, Mr. Cummings?
So I think fufu and soup,
Mm.
right, would be high on my list. I'm from Maryland. My family is from Maryland anyway, so palm butter is kind of high on the list. Potato greens.
Potato greens, yep.
Yeah, kind of almost in that order: fufu and soup, palm butter, potato greens. But I like all Liberian foods, frankly, right? So flour sauce and rice, cassava leaf, right? So those are all amongst my favorite Liberian food. I like dry rice. Everybody feels like dry rice a little differently.
Right.
I like dry rice and fried fish, right? Good combination for me. Sometimes for breakfast, I like pork plantain and smoked fish gravy, or cassava and gravy for breakfast. I got a good friend who
no liver gravy.
Liver gravy as well.
Okay,
I love liver actually. I have a friend who bakes very well, so she does good shortbread, cornbread, and rice bread. So I also enjoy those for breakfast. Sometimes either one of those, cornbread, rice bread, or Teresa, my wife, makes very good rice bread. So yeah, I eat Liberian food every day.
That's the reason why you came back.
I eat rice. I eat rice almost every day.
Mr. Cummings, can you hear me?
And every Saturday, almost every Saturday, I eat fufu and soup.
That's the real reason why you came back, Mr. Cummings.
Exactly.
Can you hear Michael now?
Michael, can I hear you now? Speak.
Can you hear me okay?
I still can't hear Michael.
I
don't know why I can hear you and not him.
You still can hear me?
Can you hear him, Catherine?
I can hear Saliki and Michael.
Oh,
I can hear both of them. But I have a question about children and women. I hear, a lot of these cases about child molestation, child sodomy, child abuse, women being raped. And I know that you have done work. I read that you have sponsored anti-rape and gender-based violence training in the past. and that you have provided beds to rape victims at a clinic, Women's Aid Inc. So I know that you've done work in this area before, but what about in a Cummings administration? How do you plan on approaching or dealing with this problem with gender-based violence and child abuse that we are hearing about in the country, that it breaks our heart when we hear those stories?
Yeah, we got to tackle it, Catherine, on multiple levels. First, we got to do all of this. So this is not any particular order necessarily, because we have to do it all. But at a societal level, we have to have an intolerance for any of these men, and it's 99.9% men who perpetuate these things on women. Any man who exhibits those kinds of behavior, we should ostracize them. We should not be associated with them. We should not let them, societally, we should shun them, right? We should not make excuses for them. If in families, if a family member is a child molester, that person should be called out. So societally, we should be intolerant of that kind of behavior. Then from a government, a legal perspective, we should punish. That there has to be consequences for people who, perpetuate those behaviors on people, right? So that means, again, we got to fix the judiciary to equip it to deal with that. We got to make sure that the women and children who are affected are not re-victimized by the processes we put them through to get to the people who, commit these acts, right? So we got to tackle it on multiple levels. We got to be intolerant of it. Again, people who do those things gotta go to jail. There gotta be consequences. The judicial systems gotta be prepared to handle that. And we don't want to re-victimize people in that process. But rather societally, the church, the mosque, you can't take the worst person and make them Father of the Year, right? Because they gave money to the church, right? Those sort of societal behaviors we gotta change, right? The tolerance of people that steal. There's this thing, I think it started in New York, where I forgot what it called it, Catherine. The broken window syndrome.
Okay. That's my city.
Throw pepper and break the window. You kind of let it go, and it leads to bigger crime, right?
Right.
So we should be intolerant of small crimes, big crimes, right? So those behaviors as a society, right? It should not be acceptable in our families, in our villages, in our communities, in our churches, in our mosques. We should shun people that behave that way. And then, of course, the legal, the governmental piece has to play a role where there are consequences, where people go to jail when they victimize others.
Okay. Saliki,
all right,
how's your mic?
let's try this again. Can you hear me now, Mr. Cummings? If he can, then he might have to go out. He might have to go out and come back.
You can hear me, Mr. Cummings?
I really don't know what's going on. It must be on my side.
Can you actually to just go back out and come back in?
And I don't know why.
Mr. Cummings, they want to know if you can go back out and come back in, because I can hear that.
Okay, let me do that.
So let's do that. For our listeners out here, thanks for following us. This is the maiden voyage of Liberia Future TV, and we are in a collabo right now with Kia Radio, and we are bringing you this live interview with Alexander Benedict Cummings, the political leader of the Alternative National Congress. We're just going to straighten out a little bit of technical difficulties to make sure that we're all on the same page. So please stick with us through this. In the next 10 minutes, we will be going to the phone lines. So Jeff, get ready for us there. In the next 10 minutes, we'll be going to the phone lines and see if we can get you guys in on this interview so you can ask your direct questions to Mr. Cummings, what you've always wanted to know about him, about his vision for Liberia. So yes, stay tuned and please watch the backstage. Mr. Cummings will be coming on, and once he comes on, you can definitely add him back to our platform, and we can pick up from there. So thank you guys for joining us. It's been a very interesting interview. time tends to fly a lot
Right.
when you're having these interactions. But Siliki, what do you think so far?
Yeah, great interview so far. I think we get Mr. Cummings back.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Are you getting us now, Mr. Cummings?
Mr. Cummings, can you hear Saliki talking to you?
No, we are not getting that right now.
Can you hear? Hello?
No, I don't
Mr.
think he
Cummings?
can hear you.
No.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and take him backstage? Yeah. And let's see if we can straighten that out a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a great interview so far, especially with the question Ms. Catherine asked about how he's going to create job, and he was able to lay out. But one of my observation is that Mr. Cummings is always consistent when it comes to how he wants to create jobs for Liberians. The same message, if you look back, there's a short video, I think about 15 to 10 minutes video, why he spoke about the 5 watts and how he's going to do these things. So it's the same explanation he gave, talk about technology, investing in agriculture, education, and so for infrastructure and etc. So it's always consistent about his message. So if you see somebody like that, then they know what they can do. So you put that kind of man in power, you give him an opportunity, trust me, from day one, he can start off his work because he already got it playing on. And one of the takeaway too is the fact that he talked about he's not intimidated about smart people. Like he know what he know and he know what he does. So like if you are, for example, a software engineer, or maybe you're a lawyer and you are needed on his team, he's not intimidated or threatened by your strength. He will call you and go to work together, to make a better team. And that's what I think our country at this current time, that these are kind of leaders that we need to push us forward.
Jefferson, is he back?
He's coming. He just got
coming
back.
in?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's coming.
Awesome.
Now, if I tried to do a case with that internet, they beat me in court.
So I changed my location. I don't know if this will help.
Well, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, great. Okay. So I have a question because we went into the economics of things, and we started talking about the economy and budgets. And so I wanted to ask you a question.
You can't hear.
You can't hear?
It's gone.
Oh wow. Okay. Let's see what happens. Here. As you guys know, we're dealing with Liberia. The Cummings is in Liberia, and you know how the internet can be sporadic sometimes. So please bear with us as we try to get him back on here. We'll wait for Jefferson to give us a signal once that is done.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, you are watching LIB Future TV. These are your hosts, Michael Padmore, Siliki Kroma, and Catherine Gibson. We are glad and privileged that you have joined us this evening to he's not there yet. Okay.
Yeah.
To join us this evening in this riveting interview with Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, one of the most successful Liberians out there. And as you heard his story, he was born in 0.4, had a normal childhood. Like every one of us went to government, studied hard, worked hard, was persistent in what he wanted to do, and was able to be successful. That's been a driving force for. I will tell you straight out. I've looked up Mr. Cummings since the day I met him. Yeah, and there's something I learned early on in life. If you want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people. And don't if you believe you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Mr. Cummings, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Hello.
Can you
Catherine,
hear us?
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yes.
you.
I can hear you, but yeah, I can't hear the other guys. I'm not sure what's going on.
Oh wow! So you still can't hear
It's
me?
beginning to feel like a conspiracy.
It is because I'm the only one that's supposed to ask questions today. That's what's supposed to happen.
We are getting him actually, but I don't know why. Are you
Let me
getting?
Let me try using another device.
Okay. He's
Okay.
gonna try to call in, Michael, but
Okay.
I did like Mr. Cummings' answer on healthcare.
Yeah.
Because I a lot of people leave Liberia to go find healthcare, and for
Yeah.
people who can't leave, they don't have that option.
No, they're
So
stuck.
at least they can have a local clinic to go get treated, to go get medicine. And I think that's a very good idea for people. That's definitely needed.
Okay. Yes, definitely. I believe so too.
Let me try to log on.
Just for what I've since I've tried to give back to my country, I can't tell you the amount of instances where we've lost people because of preventable diseases, of preventable situations. Just the easiest, the simplest of things that could be done to save people's life, and it's not done, and people lose their life. And you get one shot at this life. There's no reset button. If somebody's gone, they're gone, and it doesn't matter whether they're fathers, whether they're mothers, whether they're children. The condition in our country needs to change. People cannot continue to lose their life over preventable diseases just because our leaders have not done what they are supposed to do.
Right.
Things done. It's totally inexcusable that continues to happen in our country. Wow. Just when we're about to go to the phone lines here, we're having these difficulties. I'm not sure.
Let's see, Jefferson. Let's see if Mr. Cummings can hear you.
Mr. Cummings, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear Jefferson either.
You
I
can't
can
hear
only
him.
hear you. I can only hear you.
What is going on?
It's like
I'm not sure what is going on.
there's a conspiracy here.
I don't have I don't have the phone line, or else I would take calls.
Can you ask Mr. Cummings if he can mute his computer?
Is there a number I can call?
And call. Just
Jefferson,
keep the video
can he
on.
call can he call the WhatsApp number?
Yes, I can do that. So, Mr. Cummings, I can do
And
that.
Just speak. You don't have to have the visual.
Yes.
Can I put
Tell
you on the line?
Tell him to mute his computer.
Can I put you on the line here?
Yes.
Okay, Siliki, you can do that from there.
Siliki's gonna call you, Mr. Cummings.
All right.
Tell him Catherine, did that he shouldn't cut his computer or you should just mute his computer.
Okay, I think. Yeah. Okay, good.
You see, there's a feedback, so you got to mute it.
Okay, so Mr. Cummings, you'll have to mute your computer.
Let me see if I can mute him. Okay.
Okay.
I muted.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
All
right. So can you hear all of us now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Michael. I can hear Siliki.
Okay. You're a little bit distant. Siliki, can you move a little bit? Can you move it closer to the device? Just so we hear a little bit closer.
Okay.
Oh, you gotta hold it up. Just okay, perfect. You're fine. You're fine, Mr. Cummings. You're fine. So I had a question, and for me, you are more than free to answer with a yes or no if you feel that's the most appropriate thing. Okay, but I wanted to know: is Alexander Cummings prepared and equipped to put Liberia on a trajectory to success to solve the problems of Liberia? Is Alexander Cummings prepared and equipped to do so?
Absolutely. The answer is yes. Emphatically, yes.
Okay.
We are prepared to do so. We know how to do so. We know how to build a team of Liberians to do so. We know how to reach out to the international contacts, the help we need externally. We understand how to manage our resources, to make the choices, to make the right allocations. Yes, we are prepared to put Liberia on a whole different trajectory to success.
Awesome. Okay. We had so many other questions to ask of you. We did, but we really want to bring our audience in and see if we can get some questions on the line. Okay. Jefferson, can you please announce the local number?
Yes. So, folks, you're listening to LIB Future TV here on Kia Radio Conversation with Mr. Alex Cummins. 0777 959 959 0777 959 959 0881 871 670 0881 871 670 plus 231 777 959 959 here in Liberia are the numbers you can use. We'll go to the lines and begin to take your calls. This is the first person here on the line. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, how do you do?
Good. Your name and where you call from?
My name is Abraham Carr, and this is a visual impact president who joining from Kazali Boulevard. This is towards the big
Go
ahead. So thank you for again Mr. coming and asking all of the questions. But for me, my question has to do with people with disability. Looking at the high constraint within our country, we still try our best, go to school. Some disabled people have, master degrees and BSc. But yet there's still a part of the government that we had up to the current regime. There's no, a level of, let's just say a level of opportunity as creating a level playing field that will absorb people with disabilities that are, qualified.
Okay.
So, for me, I want to know if become president, what difference is he going to do in that direction in order for everyone to be absorbed in the job, when it comes to job facility.
Thank you. You've made your point.
And accommodating everyone in the society.
Okay. All right. Thank you. This person on this line, 0777 959 959. Let's go to our WhatsApp line. Welcome.
Hello.
You're live. Your name and where you call from?
Yeah. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. My name is Mike Hungerford. I'm calling from Top Network, Permian County.
Okay, let's hear you.
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Cummins. Yeah, what are some of your blueprint that you got for the youth after taking them off the street from drugs? What do you have in store for them? Are you going to educate them, or do you have any plans for rehabilitating their lives and getting them to be a productive citizen in the future? I'm just concerned about that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Welcome. Let's hear you. Oh, he left the line as well. Plus 231 777 959 959 0777 959 959 0881 871 670 are the numbers you can use to be a part of the show tonight here. LIB Future TV conversation with Mr. Alex Cummins live on Kia Radio 95.9. Good evening. Good evening. Okay. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello, you live.
Yeah, the line just went off.
Yeah, you asked a question?
Yeah, I've asked a question already. So can I ask again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I want to know what Mr. Cummins plan for the youth as regard to education and getting them off the street and getting them off drugs.
Yeah, he got that question already. So just listen.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's take this person on this line. Good evening. Your name and where you call from?
I'm James Parker calling from Upper Caldwell.
Let's hear you, James.
Yeah, I would like to commend the studio guy, Mr. Cummins. Thank you so much, because I was in Bomi at the time. He was running a campaign with Manzo. Mr. Cummins got a very good vision for Liberia, but other people are not looking at it from that end. I pray that God should help him, that he should take power. When he takes power, things will be better in Liberia.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's go back. Good evening. Welcome. Hello. Hello. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. This is Nyan Dolo calling from Nimba County, Pacific, Gando City.
Okay, Yan, let's hear you.
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Kumi. So, if you are wanting to become president, or if you have the opportunity now to become a president, what will you bring in? What will be the major changes that you will make in the education sector? Because looking at our education nowadays, when even somebody leaving from here to go to Sierra Leone, sometimes they look at our documents to be something that is not up to standard. So what will you do in that direction?
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's go again. Get this person. Oh, 0777 959 959 0777 959 959 0881 871 670 plus 231 777 959 959. Welcome. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, since this person is
Yeah,
ready.
let's get rid of that one then. Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
You're live. Your name is where you join us from.
Yeah, this is Double P there. I'm joining you on 12th Street.
Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, I prefer as I'm coming to become president. Reason being, have full vision for the country and would like to try in this coming to and thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Welcome. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, hello?
You're live. Your name is where you call from.
My name is Joseph Fogo and I call from Wall Street.
Go ahead.
Well, I actually like to call. It was a question to Mr. Alexander B. Cummings, but rather I would like to say him for the work done so far. I've been following it for a very long time. And my trust and belief is in him that I believe that he can do better for this country. And with all the qualifications and his experience, I know that he can take Liberia to another level. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you so much. This person here. Okay, let's get you through. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Good evening. My name is Keneva Moore, and I call you from Central Moravia.
Welcome, Mr. Moore.
Thank you very kindly. I want to appreciate firstly Mr. Alexander Cummings. It's always a pleasure listening to him with his vision, his thoughts and aspiration for Liberia. I just like to state before asking my question, for some of us who believed in him for the last election were disappointed in his decision on the way the party went the last in showing support for the presidential election. However, I want to say if Mr. Cummings, for the last two elections has been trying, can he agree to go to the House, make some changes? Because the issue in selling Mr. Cummings has been, Mr. Cummings is experienced, he's good, but he has no political test yet. George Weah went through some tests as popular as he is, but he went through the legislature as well and then extended on to becoming president.
Okay.
So can Mr. Cummings follow that regard?
Okay, thank you. Next person. Welcome, let's hear you.
Good evening.
You're live.
Okay, this is the way to calling from Chibilu Factory.
Go ahead.
I want to say thank you for your studio, guys. And my question is, what are those important things that he decided to do and those mistakes that George did and Future Boga is doing that he want to correct?
Okay. Thank you. Melvin Flomo, welcome.
Hello?
You're live, Melvin, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, how you doing, sir?
We're okay.
So, Melvin, I'm calling you from New Matari. So, I want to call to support, I'm speaking in my Kibase as a Liberian, not a journalist. So, on the comments, I've been following over the time. the Cummins workings are the popular company. On the Cummins have been into our space for the past year. So I think we're on the Cummins coming into the presidency 2029. I foresee the president of the year. I foresee where all our friends will see the impact of the Cummins.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to the friends supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Welcome.
Yeah. Good evening.
You live.
I'm A. Mohammed T. Famula calling from Rabosto City, Grand Cape County.
Okay. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Firstly, I will say thanks, team, who has a show.
Hello. Hello. Oh, too bad.
Yeah, hello.
You're live. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I'm Elliot. We are calling from Monserrado County.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the show, and I want to say, Mr. Cummins, thank you for the show too also. And we are already praying for Mr. Cummins to be our president for this country. He got him feelings. Yes, we understand. So I join other people to push Mr. Cummins. Thanks.
Okay.
So let's take two more. Jefferson, let's take two more questions. And we give Mr. Cummins the opportunity to.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How are you?
We're good.
I'm George McGee calling from Corway.
Okay, McGill.
McGee, anyway.
Yeah.
I just want to ask the honorable. Why most of the politicians they don't talk about 30% of every company that enter in Liberia for finishing raw material. 30% they carry the 70. I would be able to get a 30% open factory, and for all the design structure, I don't know. What are you looking at direction? All the company let it have 30% finishing product.
Okay.
I don't know you have that.
Okay.
On here, General.
Okay. Let's squeeze this person in. Welcome.
Yeah, good evening.
You live.
I'm Mohammed Famula. I'm the individual.
Okay.
First, let me say this with Liberians. Arizona Cummings is a man who deserves a chance in Liberia comes 2029. Because there are some things that Arizona Cummings have done as presidential experience from 2017 up to now. And our past leaders, they have presidential candidates who been contesting for that positions, and they are not done shows. And Arizona Cummings have been doing donations around the country. So for me, I would say clear to Liberians, come 2029, Arizona Cummings deserves a chance.
Okay.
Let us give him a chance too. Let him play his part.
Okay.
And let's see what he will do for the country.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, he's been working globally.
Thank you.
So he deserves a chance.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you to all our callers out there. If you guys can just hang on for a minute, let's give Mr. Cummings opportunity to respond to the comments and questions. There are a lot of pleasantries thrown your way, Mr. Cummings. So go ahead. You have the floor. You can respond to those questions and comments.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Perfect. So first of all, let me thank all the people that were supportive and complimentary. I think James from Caldwell. There was a gentleman from Front Street. I want to thank as well, Jacob. Thank you. The last caller, Mr. Formula from Cape Mount Robertsport, also said Cummins deserve a chance. So let me just thank everybody for your kind words. So there were some specific jobs around, questions around job opportunities. And there was one from Abraham, I believe, and then one from Mike in Tottenberg, who also asked about youth. And for me, Michael, those things kind of go together. I spoke about earlier, Catherine asked a question about growing the economy and job creation. And I mentioned the fact that we got to create the right environment, right? Judicial environment, the import and export and import, the regulatory environment, the tax environment. Then we got to invest invest in agriculture, we got to invest in tourism, we got to invest in housing. These are all natural job creators. We have to create a national youth service program, which will be a bridge to employ young people until the economy grows and can absorb them. So job creation will be a big focus of ours, and we'll use all of these things as suggested. The blueprint for youth is about job and education. We want to make sure we invest in our educational system. We want to focus on science, technology, engineering, education, because that's where the future lies. We need to be talking about artificial intelligence, AI. We're coding for our young people, right? But investing in education, focusing on technology, and creating jobs. That's the blueprint for our people. Jan from Ganta asked about major changes in education. You know, in leadership, in strategy, it's about making choices. If you try to do everything, you will do nothing well. So within each sector, health, education, infrastructure, we're going to make choices. In education, we're going to first of all focus on teachers training at all levels. If you don't have well-paid, well-trained professional teachers at university, high school, elementary, middle school level, you will get poor educational outcomes. They say garbage in, garbage out. So we're going to focus on teachers training. We're going to focus on vocational training, or what they call TVET, because some of these jobs we're talking about creating, some will be professional, some will be vocational jobs, like in housing, for example, or in agriculture, for example, right? So we focus on vocational training. We'll focus on adult education, right? Because we have many of our adults that need to be taught formally, educational-wise, and then we'll make sure we put the standards in place so that the quality of, whether you go to school in Tottenburg, you go to school in Ganta, you go to school in Fishtown, you're getting the same quality education. So the standards in place are the things we'll focus on education, but getting the right teachers, paying them well with the right standards would be one of our major pushes from an educational perspective. There was a question on what we would do different from both the past administration and the current one. There's so many things we'll do different. Among the biggest things we'll do different is the choices we'll make in terms of how we allocate the resources of the government. And again, I mentioned allocating more to healthcare, more to education, more to agriculture, making sure we're paying the people that really do the work, paying them what I call a living wage, at least $300, $400 a month. Teachers, healthcare workers, right? Police officers, the military people, the civil servants. Those are the people that actually do the work that keeps this country running, that keeps us safe, right? As opposed to paying the legislature what we pay them and, all these high government officials, right? So that's something that we'll do fundamentally different. We'll go after the stealing, the corruption, in a very different, more deliberate way from what is being done in the past. But the other big thing we'll do is this grow the economy, this creating jobs for our people, right? I described, Catherine and Salika, I described this bowl of rice we all eat from. Let's call this bowl of rice the quote-unquote the economy, right? We want to make that bowl of rice bigger. We want to grow the bowl of rice, and we want to guarantee that every Liberian will have the right to put a hand in that bowl of rice. And the only thing that will stop you from eating that bowl of rice is you got to obey the rules, right? And if you work hard, you will eat more of the rice. If you're lazy, you're not. But that's a choice. You can decide to work hard or not, right? You can decide to follow the rules or not. But nothing else will stop it, because nobody choose the tribe you come from. Nobody choose your gender, whether you're man or woman. Nobody choose your age. Nobody choose the religion you're born into. None of those things will stop you from participating in the benefits of our country, from eating from this bowl of rice. The only thing that will stop you are the things you can control. And you can control how hard you work or not. And you can control whether you pay the rules or not. If you kill, you rape, you steal, we'll punish you. We're not let you put your hand in a bowl of rice, right? But we want to make that bowl of rice bigger. And that, everybody got an area, my area, that this thing they call the economy, this thing called job creation, this thing called growing the private sector, right? That's the thing I understand. And that will be fundamentally different from anything we've actually seen in the history of our country. So that will be the major thing we'll do different. What else? I think the rest of most of the comments
Okay.
You know, there was a question about the disabled, people with disabilities.
Yeah. So again, people don't choose that to be a disabled person, right? Like anything else. And so make sure that disabled Liberians have the same rights, and we'll make sure they are accommodated given their various disabilities, because we don't discriminate against any Liberian, right? Particularly for things you don't choose, that providence that happens to you, and this particular Liberians will be beneficiaries of this country we want to create for ourselves.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Cummings. We just got a few more questions for you before we let you go. So please be patient with us here. One of the things that's been hot on the news lately is land rights, squatters, and demolition. What are your thoughts on that, and how would a President Cummings gonna approach that?
Yeah, look, we will approach it also from a human side. This is again where I think we'll be different. And I mentioned earlier the fact that we're going to focus on the bread and butter issues. We're going to focus on things that affect the ordinary, the common Liberian, so that everybody can benefit from our country. And so, we may have the legal right as a government to move people, but we will do it humanely. We will try to offer them alternatives, right? If they own government land, is owned by the military, and we want to put a barrack there or whatever, the fact is these people are citizens. They've been living there for years. We're not going to just bulldoze them. Community administration, we send people to the community, we talk to them, we'll find alternatives, we'll get some people money to move. Or I mentioned about investing in housing, Michael, right? We're going to be investing in housing so that we can move people from where they don't belong and offer them alternatives. And when you do that, again, all of these things work together. You got to be creating the jobs so they can pay for where they go to, right? But you got to provide housing. So the key difference is we do it more humanely. We will know that these are our people. They were on government property, they were on government land, and we asked them to move, and we got to provide an alternative to them. And we're not just going to bulldoze people. I think that's inhuman. I think that is insensitive. And our community administration will not do that. For private land rights, because again, some of these things will be private people are squatting on the land. We will also encourage them to provide alternatives and options for people. Give the people warning. Be humane about how you ask people to leave, your land and your property, right? So that would be the biggest difference, is the human element. That these people have been living on these places for years, and you can't just come and ask them to move tomorrow, right? Or a week or two. And so that human piece is what we're going to do differently. But in some cases, the government may need to reclaim the land. That's eminent domain. It happens everywhere in the world, but it's how you go about doing it, right? So whether in the United States, they come and give you alternative, or they pay you for it, or in China or whatever else, that's what we need to do.
Okay, thank you so much. Siddiqui, I'll give you an opportunity. You want to ask one last question to Mr. Cummings here?
Sure. Look, Mr. Cummings, for Liberians who feel disappointed and discouraged, and it seems like there's a huge race of hopelessness in the country. Pregnant women going to hospital, getting rejected because they don't have money to put up on. Children below the age of 10 selling in the street instead of being in school. What sort of message of hope do you have to offer to these people today on this show?
Yeah, look, my message to Liberians, first of all, I want to acknowledge that we are among the most hardworking, resilient, we are tough people. But we have suffered for too long. And I want Liberians to know that there is hope if we make the right choices, the right leadership choices. We can change our country. We can provide the education facilities and teachers so our young people don't have to be on the street selling. We'll create jobs for the parents, right? Or I mentioned we'll create financing, provide loans to their mothers and their fathers to do business so they can support them adequately. If their parents are teachers and healthcare workers and military police, will pay them a living wage. These are the people that actually do the work that keeps the country running. We will make sure we take care of those things, right? So there's hope. Liberians have to play their part in that happening, the choices you make, not just for president, although that's important, but the kinds of people we choose for representative and for senators, those will make a big difference in their lives. But there's hope, and our country can change, and we have the resources to change our country. And I wanted to continue to be resilient. Let's continue to hope and pray that the current government does well, because if that reduces the suffering, that's what we all want. Right? So until they get to the point where they're choosing a choice for somebody else, let's also hope that the people in power today do the right things for the Liberian people so that we can reduce the suffering of our people. But there's hope if we make the right choices going forward.
Yeah, okay. Quickly, before I go to Mr. Pablo, Mr. Gomez, you always talk about this living wage, and today I want you to break it down. When you talk about living wage, what do you mean by that? That's one. 2, 10 years ago, when you came and there was a presidential election in 2017, you talk about raising our national budget to $1 billion. So today we have $1 billion budget, but it doesn't seem like it's kind of effective on the lives of the Liberian people. What will you do to make it effective so that the market women, the students at the University of Liberia can be taking paint to say they're going to paint that university so that they can feel it, they can see it, that yes, we have a $1 billion budget.
Yeah, so let me start with the $1 billion budget, and then we can talk about the living wage. It's all about how you allocate the money you do raise. So first of all, we could have been at $1 billion a long time ago, right? And when I said this in 2017, it was not possible, etc. But look, it's good that we're there now. I think maybe 3-4 years later than we could have been. But then when you increase the budget, you can't keep, Saliki, I always say you can't keep doing the same and expect different results. If the allocation of that money is the same way you've done it in the past, where you're giving more money to the legislature, you're giving more money to national security, you're giving more money to the president's office, as opposed to more money to education, to healthcare, to agriculture, to housing, right? It's the allocation of those funds is what will make the difference, is where you put the money so that, again, it impacts the life of the average Liberian, the ordinary Liberian, the farmer, so that you invest in agriculture so he or she sees a difference, right? The biggest difference will be the allocation, the choices we make, right? The focus we'll do in terms of allocating the money. Look, a living wage for me, a minimum should be at $300-400 a month, right? For all people working in government, right? And we should push the private sector to actually do the same, right? So it's enough money that people can pay their rent, pay their serious school fee, put 3 meals on the table every day, right? Enough money to take care of those basic things. That's what you call a living wage, that you can kind of make a living and not have to sell the drugs in the clinics, sell grades, right? Pull people over, harass them, etc., etc. We want to take away the incentive to do that and give people enough money that they can take care of themselves and their families.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Catherine, do you have a last question for Mr. Cummings?
Yes, one last question, Mr. Cummings. Growing up in the Liberian church, we stayed too long. We stayed all day in church, but I didn't know the difference between this tribe and that tribe. Everybody was my auntie and my uncle, and we all worshiped together. We all sang together. We all ate together. But then coming to Liberia, I found out that there's these divisions amongst tribe, amongst party, there's Liberians are sort of divided up. How will you bring Liberians together as one nation, one country, so that we can stop being so divided amongst each other?
Okay, but that's what, when I turn this bowl of rice issue, is the fact that to remind us Liberians that we shouldn't focus on what quote unquote makes us different, because again, those differences we focus on, as I mentioned, are not choices. Nobody chooses the tribe they're born into. So whether you Grebo, Basso, Kran, Pele, Kisi, Congo, Ingo, whatever your tribe, Gola, Vai, you don't choose that. I mentioned you don't choose the religion you're born into, you don't choose your gender. So it's reminding people of that constantly as the leader. Is when we create opportunities in our country, Liberians need to see that everybody can benefit, that we're not discriminating based on any of these things that they do. When we construct the government anywhere in the world, whether in the US or Europe or Asia, whatever else, everybody gotta see themselves represented, somebody like them represented in high places in the private sector, government, and we're being intentional about a government of national unity, where we're not gonna care about tribe, party, whatever, right? And those examples of people seeing behaviors, right? And but also as you expand economic opportunities, people are not fighting because in my Bola Rest example, Catherine, when that Bola Rest is not growing or is getting smaller, it's human nature. People will fight, you will protect for yourself. You look after your family, then you look after your tribe person, and so on and so forth. If we're growing the opportunities for Liberians, we're growing this Bola Rice, we're creating more jobs, more opportunities, and we're not discriminating. Everybody can participate. We start to get rid of some of these differences that we focus on, these barriers, right? And as I mentioned, in government, people will see themselves represented there. Everything we do gotta be in the context of how we unify, how we reconcile our people. We got to get rid of all the vindictiveness that sometimes politicians exemplify, right? Or the envy, right? But those are some of the ways and things we'll do to try to bring the country together and encourage us to reconcile and not focus on these superficial differences, because we don't choose those differences. This providence is God, and we should not be punished. We should not be advantaged because of those differences.
Okay, Mr. Cummings, thank you so much. I will give you the opportunity to make your closing statement, but thank you so much on behalf of Kia Radio, on behalf of LIB Future TV, on behalf of myself. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on this first edition. You have made history. When we speak of this entity in this organization every year today, we're harking back to our first guest that graced this show, and it was a very enduring one. So first, we want to tell you thank you for taking the time to do that and for connecting with your people and giving them the opportunity to ask you questions like no other politician is doing right now. So I will give you the floor. Go ahead. You can put everything in a nutshell, and we'll go from there.
Great. So, Michael, thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Saliki, Jefferson. I'm honored to be your first guest. And I hope you invite me back, and we'll get the technology right when I come back the next time. But thank you for this opportunity. And let me just say this to our country, our people, that we should never give up on Liberia. We should never give up on each other. We should really work hard to be supportive of each other and encourage each other. One Liberian success should be another Liberian success. We should be happy for all of us and encourage success amongst ourselves. And to also show the Liberians that, there are better days ahead. We can and will improve our country. And given the opportunity, they will see a fundamental difference in the life of the Irish person, the ordinary Liberian, the common Liberian. That is our focus. That is why we are aspiring to serve them, not to come and play big shot, but to come and serve them. I view this as public service. As I mentioned to an earlier question from Saliki on ambition, if you're going into government, you're going there to serve. You're going there to look after people and not to serve yourself. And this is our ambition, not the job per se, but to use the job to change the lives of average Liberians. So thank you. And I look to many future conversations with all of you, and good luck with the show. And I hope you get the opportunity to expand and cover the length and breadth of Liberia through, in addition to care, to other regions and networks across the country. So good luck, all the best, and I look forward to coming back.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Cummings.
Mr. Cummings.
Thank you so much. And you can go ahead and excuse yourself. Thank you again. We are grateful. All right. So that was, to our audience out there, that was Alexander Benedict Cummings, businessman, successful Liberian politician, political leader of the Alternative National Congress. Some people like to call him future president. You can always throw that in there if it's to your liking. But we had him on our maiden voyage of the Liberia Future TV, LIB Future TV. We want to thank all of you for joining us and sticking with us. This is our first show. We're working out the bugs and the kinks. We will get it right. We will get it perfect. Like Mr. Cummings said, it's persistence. Okay, everything doesn't go right the first time, but we will be persistent. We will get it right. Catherine, please, before we go, please talk about what our people can expect tomorrow and what they can expect in the days to come when it comes to like LIB Future TV.
Okay, so Jefferson, I have a visual. If you could put that up for me. Tomorrow, we're going to have Dr. Fidel Booty. And he wrote an article, which is a very good article, on reforming the legislature. If you Google it, you will see he's talking about how to change the legislature. And one of the things that Mr. Cummings talked about was the money that's being spent in the legislature and how much money is there that's not being used for other things. And also how, I think one of the callers talked about, why doesn't Mr. Cummings serve in the House? Because they don't have any authority to do much. The executive runs Liberia. They have all the power, all the control.
Yeah.
So Mr. Cummings would just come to session. He might say a few words, but none of his ideas will ever come to pass because the executive controls Liberia. So that's why we're asking for him to be in that seat, because then his ideas can be implemented.
Yeah.
But Dr. Booty will be here tomorrow to talk about reforming the legislature. So that should be a very good show. I'm looking forward to hear that conversation. And then later on in the week, we're going to have a conversation where we talk about the budget, the Liberian budget. And so we're going to have a guest. And I need to find out, because our show is Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay.
And then Friday, the show is 11 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Okay.
So, and that's in Liberia time.
Yeah.
So I think on Friday, we're going to have a guest to join us to talk about the budget. I just want to make sure that he can make that time before I announce him.
And that's okay. That's totally fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join us tomorrow, the same time, okay? 7 p.m. Liberian time, from 7 to 9. We're going to have Dr. Fidel Booty, and he's going to be talking about changing and reforming the legislature. It's going to be a riveting time with him. I have interacted with this gentleman. He is a very, very prudent and inspiring Liberian, and his ideas, he's done studies, his thesis, you see the data in front of him, his thesis was done in Liberia. Okay, so this is his field. He's been studying it for a long time, and he knows his stuff. So join us tomorrow. We will come to you again. So join us tomorrow, 7 p.m. Liberian time, and let's talk about the legislature and how we can reform it so that it actually becomes something that is effective in changing the lives of the constituents. Siddiqui, we have a few minutes left. I want to give you the time here to just give your short closing on how you enjoyed this program and what it meant to you.
Look, again, thanks to everybody that tuned in, our followers and viewers in the comment section, even those in the radio line, for your comments, your questions is highly, highly appreciated. So we also want to ask everyone to please follow the LIB Liberia TV, LIB Future TV, on Facebook. You can give us a follow. In the next 60 days, we'll be coming on live on our page. That's something we're looking forward to. So kindly follow us by, to supporting this platform. Again, it was a great show, and I want to say thanks to all of you on this panel. It's always a pleasure to share platform with all of you here, including the political leader of the ANC, Mr. Cummins. A great conversation. But just my take home, highlight that I want to share with all of you on the show. This issue about living wage. A lot of Liberians, we don't get it, So Mr. Cummins tried to break it down. When you are working in government or in the private sector, for example, you're making $200, and then at the end of the money say you can pay from your house to go to work. When you take your transportation from there, everything finished. You not get money again to pay your children's school fees. You not get money to buy food. You not get money to even wear clothes or even take yourself to hospital, for example. So, Mr. Cummins, when you talk about living wage, it is a salary that you can take home. At the end of the month, that you can take your transportation, for example, put all the money together you can spend on a monthly basis to go to work. You will take that from your salary. There will still be money. You will take your children food money from there. You will still get money. You will take some of that money again. You say, let me save $100 or $75 so that tomorrow when I'm sick, I can take some of that money to go to hospital. That is a living wage. But currently right now, you have people taking $175 or $150, for example, save us $7. But when they take that transportation, all of that money, very small, will be remaining. So when Mr. Cummins talk about living wage, this is what he meant. And I want all of us, especially the callers, very, very encouraging, comments from most of the callers in Liberia, and this is, motivating to all of us here to keep this going. And we want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Your support in the comment section, sharing it live in different chat rooms is something we really appreciate. So thank you so much. It was a great conversation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And to Jefferson, thank you, Chief, for producing. We appreciate it. We appreciate your expertise in this. And with that, it is 9 p.m. in Liberia. We've come to the end of our show. Want to say tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m., we will be back with a better and even bigger show. Join us then.
LIB, stand up! Take me back to Liberia, where the drums still play my song. Take me back to my homeland. It's the place where I belong.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.